So hello and welcome again with our Social Science Literary Heritage of India. Part 2 I am going to continue with this thing as we had gone through that Ramayana and Mahabharata, literature, languages, how they came, Sanskrit, the dominant language. This all we have gone through in our first session. Now we are with our second session. You all know about Ramayana and Mahabharata. That describe the war between Kauravas and Pandavas. Beside it is also consists of numerous stories, as we had gone through some serials and this all thing. No doubt we are not going through the books. So on page number 31, my dear friends, on the second we are continuing our Vedangas. What are they? Ramayana and Mahabharata, both are the epic that we have gone through. The Ramayana is the smaller one, while the Mahabharata is the biggest around the world. It contains about more than lakh verses over it. They describe the war between what is there in Mahabharata. They describe the war between Kauravas and Pandavas. Beside it also consists of numerous stories. The Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. Expound the deep philosophical principles underlying this saying. What Bhagavad Gita gives us? It gives us the philosophical principles. It's convey the message of achieving moksha or salvation through jnana, karma and bhakti. What is there in Bhagavad Gita? A philosophical principle. I would like all of my dear students would like this thing from Bhagavad Gita to till the end. Bhakti, what it gives, how it shows about the moksha, a particular kind of attendance to God. Let after that we are in a moksha form, we are going to God, and how, which way? Through jnana. Here it is jnana, karma and bhakti. Prayer, we have to do meditation. These all things have been derived. It is a superb philosophical book. The world today has given number 1 to Bhagavad Gita, the book for management studies, we can say. Every management studies are done through this book nowadays in the world. Both the epics, the Ramayana and Mahabharata, have been influencing millions of Indians and the literature for a long time. They have implanted motivational seeds of sanskars in the Indian. The motivational seeds of sanskar. We all get this sanskar as we had gone through in the lockdown, the serial Ramayana. We had gone through the character Rama. Has been played by Arun Goyal, we can say. But what are the principles we accept? No doubt today also we accept the principles that we have to go to our parents, elders and this all. So many such principles are there that we have developed, and we have sanskars to in the Indians. During the period of Sanskrit, literature was produced with contained a good combinations of religious and worldly aspects of life. The Puranas played an important role in explaining initial Vedic religion of earlier time. During this period, many scriptures and smruti granths were composed. These scriptures dealt with science and philosophy. For example, Kautilya's Arthashastra, the best ever book in the world for economic, we can say. Economics is Kautilya's Arthashastra. Is a book of management as well as books on the various topics such as art, mathematics and other sciences. The Smruti Granths, as explained, the religious teachings, laws and customs. So many books have been written from by taking view of this Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, everything, and we get everything of us, even our Indian sanskar we get from this book. Books not only about the religion thing, but book containing mathematical, science, philosophy, economics, every step we can say that we are considering, yeah, we have the consideration of our life regarding this thing. So, the earlier Buddhist literature was written in Pali. Please underline this thing. That is divided into three sections. It is known as Triptika. Triptika is a book. It is given a name to the book written in Buddhist literature. It consists of Skuta Pitaka, Vinay Pitaka and Abhidhamam Pitaka. Besides, many other works were also composed in Buddhist literature. Gupta period was known as the golden period from the growth and development of the Sanskrit poems and drama. Please underline this thing. Gupta period, the King Gupta, the dynasty Gupta dynasty which were ruling India. This period is considered as the golden period for the development of Sanskrit poem and dramas. The great writer like Kalidas, Bhavati, Bhairavi, Bhartihari, Bhanvat, Magha and many other belongs to the period of these. Of these, Kalidas is known all over the world. His works, Kumar Sambhav, Raghuvansham, Meghdut, Abhigyam, Shakuntalam and Russamahar are renowned for their best poetic and dramatic style. One of the Shakespeare of India, we can say. Kalidas. His many books, till today, these books are taught in universities and schools and colleges over there about poetic and dramatic situations of the present, olden times. Manna wrote the Kadambari and Harsha Charit, a biography of King Harsha. Other works of period are Bhavabhuti, Uttam Charit, Uttar Ram Charit, Bhavis, Kitrajuniyam, Vishakadatta's, Mudraksha, Shudraksha, Mirchikalipitam, Katikam, and Dandi's Dashmukh Charita. The subject of the work were political events, romance, allergies, comedies, and philosophy. Please underline this thing. All these books are written after Mahabharata, Ramayana, Gita. Many books were composed, many things were written. So these all books, and among them Kalidas is considered as the best writer of drama and poet too. So verses were composed in the earlier form of Gujarati language. In the courses of time, Gujarati language developed and many literary works were composed in it. The heritage of Gujarati literature was made prosperous by the literary contribution of Narsi Mehta, Mirabai, Dayaram, Akho, Premchand, Pritam and others. Please underline this all writers' name, who composed beautiful verses, songs, garba, narrative poems and chappas, etc. After that, the scholar like Narmad, Naval Ram, Kishore Lal Mashruwala, Pannalal Patel, Umashankar Joshi, Mahipat Ram, Ruparam, Neelkant, Govardhan Tripathi and other enriched the Gujarati literature through their works. So after Narsi Mehta, after Mirabai, this continuing process of development of literature was there in your Gujarati language too, as you all are going through many these chapters in Gujarati by these all writers too nowadays. Then on page number 32, the four Dravidian languages are Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam. Just a minute, yes. And Malayalam developed their own script and literature. Tamil is the oldest of these, with its literature belong to early centuries of the Christian era. Tamil is the oldest language. According to tradition, Three literary gatherings and sangams were held at which many sages and poets recited their compositions. They contain many themes like politics, war and love. The famous work of this body of literature includes Ethiotochoi, compositions of 8 poems, the Tolkapiam grammar, and the Pathupattu, the 10 songs. Trivandrum wrote the famous Quran, which is verse deals with many aspects of life and religion. The Silpapidikaram and the Manimekhalai are some of the most famous work of early Tamil literature. So from 4 languages, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam, Tamil was the oldest language. And many grammatical books, many political books, many religious containment books are written in a particular that Tamil language, Malayalam, Telugu language we can say. Now medieval literature. As we had gone through the northern side and the western side, now we are going to the middle. Medieval literature. Which type of literature was there? During the beginning of the medieval age in the North India, the literature was Sanskrit. So the great works were composed during this period were in Sanskrit. In this age, 2 great works were written in Kashmir. First was Somdev's Katha Sarit Sagar and second was Kalhana's Raj Tarangini. They were first historical book of India. So please underline these 2 books written by composed in Sanskrit and written in Kashmir. And first was Somdev's Katha Sarit Sagar and the second was Kalhana's. 2 writers are there, Somdev and Kalhana. Kalhana wrote Raj Tarangini. There was first historical book of India. These 2 books are the first historical books of India. Another famous work of this time, the Geet Govind by Jaydev, which is one of the finest poems in Sanskrit literature. As we have said before, this was a period when the Apbhrangsh languages had started developing in the modern Indian languages. So before this Apbhrangsh language means the Gujarati that we are speaking today, typical Gujarati, as you all know, we are not speaking the true Gujarati. We are speaking a typical Gujarati nowadays. Even our Gujarati in villages, for some distance about 5 kilometers or something, our elders used to say that this language changes. The tone of language is changed. So what Apbhrangsh Gujarati we are speaking, even Apbhrangsh English we are speaking. We are not speaking proper English according to the rules and regulations and according to the Britishers, according to the Americans, etc. We are speaking our own Gujarati English. Super fantastic English. We are speaking. Some are even not speaking some few words in English. So no doubt they are learning. They are in 10th standard today. Great for them. But let's go further. One of the earliest work in an early form of Hindi was Prithviraj Raso by Chandbardai. The work that marks the beginning of the Hindi literature deals with the heroic deeds of Prithviraj Chauhan. In this time, Sanskrit literature made great stride in South India. For some time, Jainism influenced Kannada language literature. The poet Pampa composed Adipuran underline, and Vikramarjun Vijayant, the poet Ponna wrote Shantipuram, described the life of the 16th Jain Tirthankar. The poet Ranna composed two books, namely Ajitnathpuram and Gadayudh. The poets, namely Pampa, Ponna and Ranna, are known as the trio of early Kannada literature. Please underline these two P and one R. PPR. If you can to just go through, you want to remember this thing. Then Kannada, PPR, Kannada. For Gujarati, as you all know, Narsi Mehta, Meera and many others, Pannalal Patel and many sadhus. Just to remember this thing, the poet Ranna composed two books, namely Ajitnathpuram and Gadayudh. The poets, namely Pampa, Ponna and Ranna, are known as the trio of early Kannada literature. Poet Kamban composed Ramayana in Tamil languages. Apart from this, other famous literary works were written in Tamil languages. So Tamil was the most dominant language over there till today. It is called the oldest language, one of the oldest language spoken. Tamil is that. Then the development of Indian languages and composition got a prominent in Delhi Sultanate. Two forms of Delhi language, Khadi Boli and Brij Bhasha, began to be used for writing literature also. Then what happened? When sultans were ruling over at Delhi, two another type of languages came, and they were Khadi Bhasha, Khadi Boli and Brij Bhasha. Began to be used for the writing of many devotional songs were composed in these languages. Many heroic poems and stories were composed in Rajasthani language, which is similar to Hindi and Gujarati. The heroic works like Alha, Udal and Visaldev Raso were popular at that time. A book called Chandrayaan, written by Mullah Daud, in the oldest book in Awadh languages. However, the critical appreciation of the ancient book was still written in Sanskrit languages. No doubt, they developed other languages. As you can understand that one person goes to another area and then he lives, then he used to go to the another next area. Then he lives, he gets some languages, some dialects, some even many good things. As we all know, we are going somewhere, we are inventing new bad words. So my dear students, nowadays new inventions of bad words are done. And as my boys, especially, I cannot blame anybody. I am not blaming, I am just joking because it's SS. You will feel little bit bored with these names, and one going to Tamil, next is going to somewhere else. So we are making this mixture of some words and having some languages in our own form. So like this, many languages came and they developed, but most of them, the mother language was Sanskrit, all apart. Persian was the language of court of Delhi Sultanate. Consequently, many Persian words are seen in Indian languages. Many historians emerged out during the period. We got proper description of Indian history through Turkish writer in Persian languages. Ziauddin Barani wrote the Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi, which gives a detailed account of the religion of Khilji and Tughlaq's king. He also wrote a book of political theory called Fatwa-e-Jahangiri. So during Sultans, the Sultanate rule in India, we got the Persian language, Urdu language, etc. Many languages are there. So the people came to India, they captured, they started ruling India, they brought their language and the literature, we can say, has been derived in that particular languages. From this literature we could know about the people who were living over here, who ruled over India, etc. The most outstanding literary figure of this period was Amir Khusro. He was a poet, historian, mystic, saint and composer of music. He was also a disciple of Nizamuddin Aulia. He wrote the Ashikwa, the Nah, Sifar, the Kritual Sadayan, the Khazin ul Futu, and several other works of poetry. He took great pride of being an Indian and praised Indian language as the earthly paradise. So Amir Khusro, superb, we can say a dignified person, a musician, a writer, a poet, a historian. He wrote many things in his books, and he felt pride that he was an Indian, and he praised India as earthly paradise. It is that paradise, earthly paradise. He praised India's flora, fauna, its beauty, its building, its knowledge and learning. He strongly believed that in many aspects the essence of Hinduism resembled Islam. Please underline this thing. It can come in your MCQ, fill in the blank. He strongly believed that in many respects the essence of Hinduism resembled Islam. He considered Hindavali in the Hindi spoken around the region of Delhi his mother tongue and composed many verses in it. He composed verses in many languages. He wrote number of bilingual quatrains and verses in Hindi and Persian. The healthy tradition started by him continued from centuries after him. So after when he left, when he was no more, this system carried out because he wrote everything about India. He mixed up, he wrote in many other languages. So Amir Khusro was considered as a great person over there. Poet, we can say a dignified, a dignity over there. The regional kings gave a great impetus to the regional language and literature. Bhakti saints preached in the language of the people. Many of them, like Kabir, were great poets. Bhojpuri and Awadhi were the major dialect during those days. The works of Kabir are chiefly composed in Sadhukadi. Among them, Kabir's Doha have become a part of folklore. Malik Muhammad Jasi wrote Padmavat in Awadhi. There are many other poets of Awadh in this period. Moreover, the well-known Ramcharitramanas by Tulsidas was written in Awadhi. There are many other writers of Awadhi language. So many language. Now because the king, they used to appreciate, we can say, they used to give presents to the all poets, writers. They like that this literature must develop. So development of literature again more and more after day by day, and in all area of English, different literature was developed through poets, through dialects, through slopes of dohas. As we can say, Kabir Sahib, he today, if we even somewhere while going, in some houses also daily these dohas are recited, they are played on the music system, we can say. So totally they wrote spiritually. Everything was written spiritually, inspired by the king, queens, whoever the rulers were there at that time. So we can say that Narsi Mehta, Kalidas, Kabir Sahib, Mirabai, many writers were there. Amir Khusro, we can give one name. So in every part of India, language and literature was there. The development of this language and literature. Besides Hindi language, literature in the other languages also developed. In Bengali, the Ramayana, Kritavasa and the Hundred of Lakes by the famous poets Chandidas were written the patronage of the ruler with Saint Chaitanya. The tradition of writing devotional songs began. Narsi Mehta wrote the devotional songs in Gujarati and Namdev and Saint Eknath in Marathi. There were important developments in Kashmir under Zainul Abidin, under whose patronage many Sanskrit works like the Mahabharata and Rajratnagini were translated into Persian. In the reign of the kings of Vijayanagar, Sanskrit literature continued to develop. However, this was an important period for the growth of Telugu literature. Raja Krishna Dev Giri, the great king of Vijayanagar, was also a Telugu and Sanskrit writer. He wrote the Amukta Malaya. So as in art and literature, the Mughal period also saw a great development in literature. Babur, the first Mughal ruler, was one of the pioneers of Turkish poetry and also the author of a very valuable autobiography, Tuzuk-e-Babur in Turkish, which was later translated into Persian entitled Baburnama. Ulagdan Begum, sister of Emperor Humayun, wrote Humayun Nama. Jahangir wrote his great autobiography, the Tuzuk-e-Jahangiri. Aurangzeb also was prolific writer, and the last Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Jafar was also a notable Urdu poet. So Hindi literature made significant progress during Akbar's reign. Tulsidas and Surdas wrote in this period. The great poet Keshav Das wrote on love and separation. Rahim's dohas are still popular all over India. So the kings, those who have ruled over India, they also appreciated, inspired the poets to write different languages. So many languages. Even the king themselves were a very dominant writer. They wrote their own biography. It is called autobiography in their languages. No doubt Siddhas over here. Then the kings and the queens and many. At that time, the mixture of Turkish, Persian and different language, even Hindi language, even Gujarati language, Rajasthani language, the mixture of the languages developed more and more other languages and the literature. So in our second session, we had gone through many. The medieval literature, first of all, we can say we had gone through this, how the development of literature was there, and how many kings and many saints and like Kabir Sahib, Narsi Mehta and other saints also wrote in that, and so today in their work, and so today we can have this all type of literature within us, and so Indian literature is considered as the best literature because it consists sanskar over within. So my dear friends, my dear students, if you got any doubt, you can ask me anytime you can WhatsApp too, and though you feel that it's a little bit different, difficult, you can just contact Deepak sir, Chetan sir too. So till here, I would like to stop, and we will continue our third session. Till then, thank you very much. Have a good day. God bless you. Thank you.